Hello again, fellow and aspiring reef keepers. Welcome back to Craft Aquatic. I'm Matt G. In this video, we're going to have some fun. I'll offer up 8 tips, suggestions, and ideas that will hopefully enhance your reef keeping experience. I'll throw a couple bonus tips in as well, and be sure to stick around to the end where I'll show you something interesting and slightly less common. This hobby is full of opportunities to think creatively, to come up with practical solutions that make your weekly maintenance and upgrades safer, easier, and more enjoyable. So here are some ideas that have helped me out and you might see value in applying to your weekly routine. One of the easiest ways to really screw up is to introduce some sort of harmful chemical to the aquarium while you're working on it. This spray bottle may look like it contains such a chemical, but it actually has a 50% solution of vinegar and water in it. And make sure a bottle of Vinegar Solution is available by each aquarium in my home so I can quickly spray my arms off and wipe them down by a towel that is also nearby. Of course, it's best to rinse off with fresh water as well first, but this is a way to always get into that routine to wipe your arms down before introducing any of those harmful chemicals into your tank, especially with all the hand sanitizers and the things that we use to clean around our home. We want to make sure these fish are getting the best treatment possible. And a bonus tip here, make a list of all the things you need to do with your hands in the aquarium and perform all of those tasks once a week. Okay, moving on to tip number 2. This is something I call the never-ending siphon. The idea here is to start a siphon, but instead of removing the water from the aquarium, you're circulating it through the filter sock. The reason for this is pretty obvious. We often need to pull detritus off the bottom of our aquariums, and we don't have enough time when we're performing a water change. There are a couple bonus advantages here. We get to siphon more of the detritus out of the aquarium on a more regular basis, and also we get to use that little last bit of what is left in the capacity of the filter sock before removing it and replacing it with a new one. If it's not entirely obvious, you're going to want to keep the circulation pump on while you're doing this. Here's the entire rack and roll frag system. There's a detailed video about it in the description and a new one coming soon. Idea number 3 is this hang-on DIY PVC bracket for removing and replacing water in your reef tank. With this setup, you can dip that U of the PVC pipe down into the aquarium, remove it, and get the siphon going without accidentally drinking some of your tank water. As a bonus, if you cut the PVC pipe to the correct length, it will stop at the point where you want it to, which in my case is 13 gallons per water change. And another great tip is put that giant water change bucket on a dolly so you can wheel it away to your tub or your toilet or wherever you dump your bucket. When you've finished removing the water from your tank, you can connect the hose to a return pump and pump the fresh salt water right back into your tank. Hopefully you're starting to see all of the benefits of this simple bracket. You don't have to lift any buckets, you don't have to start any siphons. You can replace large volumes of water along with your automatic water changes very easily and efficiently. Now, tip number 4 is for those of you who live and take care of a home rather than live in an apartment. And it is to not just throw out that salt water that you've drained from your aquarium, but to put it to good use. So I discovered this while looking for chemical-free ways to take care of the weeds around our yard this summer. And here I'm applying it to this drainage area with this crabgrass. In a couple applications, it will actually kill the crabgrass and most other weeds as well, including things like poison ivy and moss growing on fences or patios. It's a great way to use that old salt water. Now, my next tip is just a bit of advice, and it's that you want to get your information from people who have been successful in fish and coral keeping in the past. And the absolute easiest way to do that is to see video, pictures, or to actually visit someone's home where they have a successful setup or can show you documentation of their past setups. It is too easy for people to share in this hobby false information about reef keeping, and one bit of bad information can lead you down the wrong path. So start out right. Moving on to tip number 6, probably one of my favorite. in this video is to try DIY. You'll learn a lot, you'll spend less money, you'll have more fun. This is a algae scrubber that I did a video on a couple videos ago that you'll see a link to in the description. This is just one thing that I DIY that worked out really great. You never know what you'll come up with, what you'll invent. Just try it out if you haven't yet, and maybe you'll enjoy it. And another quick bonus suggestion, try putting your protein skimmers, your algae scrubbers, your algae reactors on a timer. That way you can really dial in your nutrients. I hope you guys are having as much fun as I am having making this video. It seems like it's going so quickly, but we're already on to tip number 7, which is find yourself a container you can hang off the side of your tank. This is a 5-cup measuring cup that hangs off perfectly, and because it hangs off so well, I can just throw my power head in, put a vinegar water solution in the cup, and soak right on the tank rather than having to fish out the AC cable all the way from the back to take to a sink or another container. I can do one pump at a time, soak them, scrub them, do everything I need to do right at the tank. This next tip is about making weekly maintenance easy. In the back of my overflow, I placed a power head, and down below that there is a switch that I hit. Turns on the power head, and I can easily blow off detritus out of the cracks and crevices, anything that's on the coral. I do this once a week on Tuesdays, and I even pull the power head up and do a little bit of wet skimming in the tank, which is actually pretty helpful. I blow off the power heads in the tank with this, and it just cleans everything up, makes anything that's settled loosen up and flow into the water column so it can be taken up by the filter socks and the skimmer. And again, when you make things easy on yourself like this, I can just kick the switch off, put it back in the overflow. You'll actually do them. You probably recognize that most of the tips in this video are about maintenance. That is the majority of what we do with our aquariums, aside from spending time watching. But one thing that can make maintenance easier and more interesting is one of these abalones. Abalone is a giant snail that is very efficient at eating algae, hair algae. It's sort of similar to the sea hare, except for it doesn't get stuck in the pumps because it has a substantial shell. They're a little hard to find, but if you do, I highly recommend you put one in your tank. They're very hardy. They can handle a variety of reef environments, including high flow, and I've really enjoyed having this. He comes out at night, and everyone in the family thinks he's very interesting. If you haven't already, please take the time to subscribe to Craft Aquatic. We love making these videos, and it motivates us to make more when you support this channel. This video is very fun to make. I'd like to make another one like it. I have probably twice as many tips that I would be happy to share if you enjoyed it. And please do share your best tips below in the comments as well. If you like this video, let us know for sure, because I will make another like it. We have lots of fun stuff coming up. Stay tuned for that. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.